Meet Ken Imhoff, the man with an incredible piece of art that he built with his bare hands. After watching Cannonball run, he fell in love with the Lamborghini Countach so much that he knew he had to have one. Affording it was another matter though, so he decided he would make his own. This is an English wheel. It's a tool used to bend and shape metal. He is going to be using it quite a bit during this build process. He created this wooden jig to help him bend the metal for the car to create the iconic perfect angles. He uses the English wheel to manipulate the metal into the shape of the jig. This process is incredibly difficult and is all done just by eye and feel. After a section is complete, he welds the pieces of metal together on top of the jig. The amount of time and energy that must have went into this custom fabrication cannot be overstated. There is definitely a reason this project took 17 years to complete. This is the completed passenger side rear fender. He then made sure the body panels fit onto the frame. These body panels are so expertly put together, you would be hard-pressed to figure out that it wasn't an authentic Lambo. Ken does have an engineering degree however, so that may have made this project a tiny bit easier for him to accomplish. Nothing short of perfection would do for this build. Ken literally thought of everything. This is a 100% handcrafted aluminum tube frame. You won't find many people who can create a car frame from scratch. First thing to go in were the transmission and engine. This beast is going to be packing a Boss 351 V8, which is mated to a ZF 5-speed manual gearbox. This thing looks absolutely beastly. The rear end and suspension is now hooked up. That is one beautiful looking setup. This car needs 2 radiators to keep this engine cool. There is one situated on each side of the car to allow air from the side scoops to hit them. The internals look like they're finally complete. The assembly looks like it is nearing completion. Now it was time to apply the primer and body filler. That rear end is probably one of the most recognizable images in car history. You should be extremely proud of your work, Ken. This thing looks absolutely gorgeous, and it isn't even painted yet. Now this is one of the most epic die builds I have ever seen. That is pure heaven in a picture. There was a light problem that needed to be solved before this thing could be brought into the light however. Because it was built in his basement, Ken had no way to get this thing up to the surface. So he did what any man would do, he knocked out a basement wall. He hired a contractor to tear down a wall of the basement and excavate the area around it to create a ramp to allow the car to be pulled out. Once they got it to the surface, it is easy to see why this thing is so special. Almost everything on the car was completely hand-done. Even the Lamborghini doors were handmade by Ken himself. I'd challenge anyone to call this out as a fake if they saw it rolling down the street. This thing is pure perfection.